Good afternoon, dear entrepreneurs, hardworking entrepreneurs, resilient entrepreneurs. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from today. West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, Northern Africa. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our July edition of Agrifunding workshop series. And today is going to be different. If you've been following us since January, you would know our pattern. Today is going to be a lot of questions, more questions than, teaching and trainings. No, this time we'll need to answer questions. So if you are excited to be here with us this afternoon, this evening, go to the chat box and tell us how you are feeling. And for our French participants, all you need to do to take part of today's program is to join the interpretation room. So we have the French room down there. Log into the meeting on Zoom and mute your audio as you enter. On the chat box too, you'll see our French interpreter telling you how to join the French room. Click the interpretation button and select your preferred language, English or French. You will hear the translated audio and the original audio at a lower volume to better understand the tone and the intonation of the original speaker. If you wish not to hear the original speaker, click mute original audio to hear just the interpreter. You must be joined by computer audio. So that means that if you are joining this meeting, you need to use your computer, or you need to have an app, the Zoom app on your phone, just so that you enjoy the interpretation feature of today's session. Now, quickly, let's run through the agenda. We have the welcome. Here's the welcome already. I've told you welcome, and I'm going to just quickly introduce myself after this session. We'll run the quick poll about AFC membership drive, our facilitators, and topic will be introduced to everybody. And then the workshop session will begin. And then we'll have the question and answer, group photograph like we used to, and then the next edition intro before we leave this place. Today is going to be different, like I said, so we will not spend so much time on introducing what AFC is about and the membership community, because we assume that you already know. So just pay attention and be active on the chat box. You will see more information. So right now, while we proceed, my name, before I tell you to start introducing yourself, my name is Ebere Oko, like you all know, membership coordinator at the African Food Change Makers. I'm happy to be here. Please go to the chat box and tell us your name, your business name, your product, your service, and where you are joining us from. Who knows, you may find a new customer today, a new partner, a new supplier, a new collaborator on the chat box. So whenever we gather like this, it's an opportunity for you to network and meet new people. So go to the chat box and introduce yourself to everybody and connect as well on the chat box. Quickly, can we have the next slide, please? So quickly, like we usually do, we run a quick poll just to test our current knowledge. And this will help the facilitators, the speakers, to know how to tone their conversations, tone their presentation. So let us know your level of understanding about the topic. Team members, can you please put up the poll? Yeah, the poll is up. If you can see the poll on your screen, please begin to answer the questions. If you can see the poll on the screen, begin to answer the questions. I promise we won't stay long on this slide because we have a lot to do today. The first question is, how familiar are you with common investment terms, such as equity, convertible notes, valuation, dilution, all these technical words? How familiar are you with these words? So we just have 5 questions. Please quickly, respond to them. Have you ever negotiated funding terms with an investor, a venture capital or angel investor, grant body, anybody? Have you had to negotiate? And a lot of them said, yes, they have, and they've done that successfully. Beautiful. Thank you all for answering the questions. The next one is, which of the following terms do you feel least confident about when discussing with investors? pre-money or post-money valuation, equity stake. Great. So I'm sure our facilitators and our speakers are reading through. What is your biggest concern when entering a negotiation with an investor? Losing control of your business, not understanding the legal language, accepting terms that may harm me later, valuation disagreements, and whatnot. Then final question is, what would you most like to gain from today's session? Now, this is where our facilitators would want to learn about. So do you want them to tell you how to better understand funding terms? Do you want them to give you tips for successful negotiations? Good. Please just keep answering the question. Do you want to hear real life case studies or founder experiences? The key speaker of today's session is a founder himself, so I'm sure he will have a lot of experience to share with you from the founder perspective. And then you want to have opportunity to ask questions. There is a lot of opportunity to ask questions. We already have 45% of everybody on the call respond to this poll, and now 50%. We can now close the poll. Team member, can we close the poll so that we can proceed quickly? Great. So this on your screen is the results, and our speakers, please take note of these results. It would really impact in your presentation. So you see that the first question, 24% of the people here are familiar with these terms, these investment terms. 46% are somewhat familiar. 24% have heard them but don't understand. 7% have never heard them at all, so they are not familiar with them. The next question, 20% of everybody on this call have at some point negotiated funding terms, and they have done that successfully. 20% have negotiated but did not succeed. 22% have never, but they've had some discussions. 39% have never, ever even gone into those kind of discussions. The third question, which of the following terms do you feel least confident? So 17% want to learn more about pre-money, post-money valuation. 22% want to learn about equity, stake, shareholding. 20% want to learn about liquidation preference. 22% want to learn about founder vesting. 48%, they don't know any of these things. So today is they're just open for new knowledge today. And the fourth question, 22% of the people on the call are afraid about losing control of their business. It's a big concern for them. 9% of them do not understand the legal language. It's a big concern for them when they want to enter negotiation. 50% are concerned about accepting terms that may harm them later. 11% are concerned about valuation disagreements. This is the value of my business, and then somebody else is valuing it way lower. 9% have never even thought about it. And then the final question, 39% of the people on this call would want to have a better understanding about funding terms. 20% would want tips for successful negotiations. 13% would want to learn from real life experiences. So we are looking forward to learning from you, the founder. 13% want to learn founder experiences, real life case studies, and 28% want to learn everything that this session has to offer. Thank you so much for your participation, and we proceed to the next segment of today's session. You see how I'm going? I'm trying to move because we have a lot to offer today. Today is going to be different. Who are we? We are African food change makers. If you have not heard about African food change makers before, please, I want to see you comment on the chat box. If you have never heard that there is an organization, a non-profit organization that provide knowledge and information resources to agripreneurs in Africa to help them scale their businesses. If you've never heard of it before, let me know on the chat box. But if you've heard of it before, then this is very familiar to you. Simply put, we are a non-profit organization that provides support to African agri-businesses. And we do that through our flagship programs like the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks, the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship, which is currently ongoing, the Building Up Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks, the registration is still ongoing. So teammates, please drop the link for participants here to register and be part of that program. Then the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship is currently on. Scaling Export program is not on at the moment, but we have the monthly Open Export series, which our members, staff members to post on the chat box. We have the Changing Narrative. Through our social media platforms, we promote African work, African agripreneurs work, everything that they do. We're trying to promote our food, our products to the world, so that the world will begin to respect us, will begin to recognize the work that we do in Africa. And finally, we have a vibrant community of agri-food change makers. If you're a change maker, you're a member of our community, let me see your hand on the chat box. So just tell me that you are a change maker. If you're a member of the African Food Change Makers community, put your hand up on the chat box. Let me see you. And if you don't know anything about what we do in our community, we host a community of over 8,000 agribusinesses from 49 countries in Africa. It's a digital hub. It's not like we have a meeting room and all of that. It's a digital village. And on this digital hub, we share resources. We share information resources, knowledge resources, funding opportunities. So we'll go out there, look for opportunities that would help your business scale and bring them to the community for you to take advantage of. And we hold this kind of sessions now and then just to boost your skills, help you upskill, help you scale your businesses as well. So quickly, our staff, our team members will drop the joining link on the chat box for those who are not members to join. I can see someone who wants to join but don't have a business certification yet. Yes, it is very important to register your business in line with the business regulation in your country. That way we know that you are real. We can easily verify you. We can look for you. We can find you. We can find opportunities for you. A lot of opportunities out there. You can't access them if you are not registered. So if you have not registered your business, please try as much as possible to get registered so that you can take advantage of the many resources that are available for free for now on the AFC community. All you need to do, if you are eligible, eligibility means that you have to be you have to own a business, an agribusiness in Africa, not outside Africa. You have to own an agribusiness in Africa, or you are a senior, or you belong to the senior management of any agribusiness operating in Africa, and you have to have done this for a period of 6 months. You should have a social media account. That means you can find, you can see the work that you're doing. Because remember, we want to project you. That is what we do at AFC. Through our changing narratives, I said earlier on, we are projecting the good work African agribusinesses are doing so that the entire world will begin to respect us and recognize us. So when you join us, we want to be able to promote your business on our platforms. We want to be able to showcase you to the world. So you need to have a social media account. We have what we call the online marketplace for members. So as a member, you can upload your products, and then anybody that visits our website will see your products and contact you. How will they contact you if you don't have a social media platform? They want to see the business that you do and how far you have gone with your business. So it's important that you have a social media platform, a social media presence, even if it's a WhatsApp page that has a link, you can also include that. But feel free, go to our website, www.afchub.org, click on the join the community and answer the questions. Be patient, answer the questions and make sure you submit. We will verify you and welcome you into the community. Now, straight to the reason why we are here. Today, we have the CEO, founder and CEO of the Pan-African Chambers of Commerce, leading today's conversation on understanding negotiation and terms, or rather understanding terms and negotiations. Johnny Muteba. Johnny Muteba is the founder of the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce, established in 2015 in Johannesburg, and the CEO of Build Africa Group, an infrastructure company advancing innovative and affordable housing solutions with over 20 years of experience across media, entrepreneurship, trade, human rights, and social impact. Johnny is a global thought leader known for leading multicultural teams and fostering transformative partnerships. His work is driven by a bold vision for Africa, one that disrupts injustice, challenges inequality, and builds sustainable futures. He serves as a representative of the Small Business Institute at NEDLAC, was a 2019 member of the WTO/ICC SME Committee, and is the president of Blacks in Technology South Africa. He also leads the Atlanta Black Chambers in South Africa and founded both the Pan-African Music Awards and the Hollywood African Film Festival. Johnny connects creativity with commerce to inspire change across sectors, communities, and continents. Who best is to lead this conversation than Johnny, who has a lot of experience relating with partners, relating with investors, relating with funders? We are very, very privileged to have Johnny here with us. Please bring out your notepads, your pens, take notes, keep your questions. When it's time to ask questions, just keep these questions rolling out. Johnny, thank you for joining us, and you have the floor.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone from Johannesburg here in South Africa. I hope you can all hear me well. I just want to start by thanking
Yes, we can hear you.
Barry and the team at AFC. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me thank Barry and the team at AFC for the invitation to facilitate this conversation. It's always an exciting opportunity for me as an entrepreneur, as a Pan-African entrepreneur, working at the intersection of commerce, technology, and culture. So when I had this conversation on actually what we were going to discuss today, I thought instead of just people coming to listen to me, it is better that I invite some that was written by the African food change makers, posted on LinkedIn. I saw it and it was really very interesting. So I am going to start there with what was written 2 days ago by AFC around Kylian Mbappe. Many of you know Mbappe. I'm Congolese, so I am very much aware of what's happening, especially in the French, soccer league with Paris Saint-Germain. But it's also an opportunity for us as well to discuss, the future of funding, the future of investment. So I thought instead of me just, telling you guys and, sharing slides, it is always better when we've got an entrepreneur working in the space that we can have a conversation with. So that's basically what we're going to do today. And I say there's going to be many other conversations as well we can have going into the future. So the lady that I've invited to have this conversation with me today is Peladi. She is a South African entrepreneur. She is a farmer. We met actually in 2020. There was an event we organized as a chamber with all the other European chambers of commerce here. I'm a member of the Spanish chamber. My business really started many, many years ago. My network is primarily a European business network here in South Africa. So we had organized a women in business event in Johannesburg with the Italian chamber, the German chamber, the French chamber, with the Spanish. I think there was about 5 European chambers of commerce and the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce. So I met her there. And then the world went into shutdown, basically because of COVID. And we kept in touch. So we met again, I think maybe 2 or 3 years later. I've also invited her to a number of conversations. She has met my team actually in the Netherlands for the campaign we're launching called Women Feed Africa. So that kind of a person who's also, of course, going to be collaborating with us on this initiative we're launching called Agriculture Education USA, because the Pan-African Chamber is also registered in the US. So I'm going to allow Peladi to introduce herself, and we will start the conversation. But also there's kind of a background information I would like to share as far as the state of funding or investment, especially in the agriculture space, because as a Chamber of Commerce, we work in every single sector of the economy. So Peladi, I am handing over the floor to you to introduce yourself, to tell people about yourself, and also your claim to fame. And then we'll start the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Piladi Chilwani from South Africa. And as Johnny said, I'm a farmer, or I'm in agriculture, or an agripreneur based in South Africa. My company's name is called African Agricultural Solutions. So we mostly work with underserved communities. I'm from a rural area, so my company basically focuses on agricultural development in rural areas. So we work with the community members, especially the youth and the elders, to to promote especially indigenous African foods into processed products. For example, we're working with cassava, we're working with leafy greens like amaranth, cowpeas, so all the nutritious high value products into processing, working with community members. So trying to get the rural communities to own the value chain from production until the market. I think, okay, and then my claim to fame, I think I'm, I don't know, as most people call it, a serial networker. So I believe a lot in networking and doing a lot of personal and business development programs. So yeah, I'm an advocate and an activist in rural development through agriculture.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you maybe just tell us how you got into agriculture? I mean, a lot of people find themselves accidentally in different sectors like music or fashion, manufacturing. I was saying to Robin here yesterday that my own life has been a series of accidents. Literally, most of the things I've done and I'm doing now, I didn't even set to go and do them. Maybe just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So how did you get into agriculture?
Okay, I studied politics, international politics, and public management. So I wanted to do development. Yeah, that was my calling, I believe, to do development. So I worked for about 8 years for for South African government department. Then I realized that the change that I wanted to see was going to take a bit longer because I was very young when I joined the public sector, so you have to work your way through that. And sometimes you have to be politically affiliated, so I didn't want to be on that side of development. So I decided, or after I actually did a program in 2016, Yali. It's called Yali. It's a very popular program, personal development and business development program. So I did the Southern Africa one in 2016. Then after doing that, I realized that I can actually do what I wanted to do through government as an individual. So 2018, I resigned and then went back to my village where I grew up. And then because I'm from a subsistence farming community, I realized that there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of high value produce, vegetables and fruits that are not used that are not being used to the capacity that they could be. So that's how I went back. I saw there was an opportunity to use agriculture to better my community.
Okay, thank you so much for telling us exactly how you got into agriculture. We are discussing funding. We're discussing investment, which is basically, the elephant in the room. I came across a quotation that says, if you don't address the elephant in the room, you are going to carry the weight of that particular elephant. So I was speaking earlier on about what was posted by AFC on their LinkedIn page. I know we don't really have so much time. People are here to listen, to maybe get some tips from you on how to engage with investors, especially in the agriculture space or food security. I will just go very, very quickly to what was posted because it kind of gives us context. It was about the Kylian Mbappe's contract saga. It says that saga can teach African agribusinesses about funding. So it says a few years ago, Kylian Mbappe had the football world at his feet and PSG's golden contract in his hand. It was a deal so outrageous. It made headlines globally. Astronomical pay, control over managerial decisions, and perks that sounded more presidential than professional. But as the season wore on and the contract began to feel less like a blessing and more like a burden, why? Because the fine print had fangs. When Mbappe finally made the move to Real Madrid this year, the world sighed with relief, but not before the media spent months dissecting every clause, every renewal trick, and every missed opportunity that nearly cost him his dream. Now you might be wondering, what does this have to do with African agribusinesses? Well, everything. The trap behind the money. For many African agripreneurs, access to funding feels like the ultimate breakthrough. Bank loans, grants, and investor capital are all positioned as the game changer for growth, and rightfully so. But what is often overlooked is what lies beneath the surface. Too many agribusiness owners rush into funding arrangements with a single-minded goal: get the bag. Few pause to ask, what are the repayment terms? Are there hidden costs? What level of control will I be giving up? Will this funding align with my long-term vision or tie me to someone else's? Just like Mbappe, many entrepreneurs find themselves locked into deals that no longer serve. They are forced to adjust their strategies, delay expansion, or even relinquish equity in the name of support. It's not just about funding, it's about fit. The truth is, not all money is good money, and not all opportunities are worth the compromise. What Mbappe's saga showed the world is that freedom matters and clarity even more so. In football, contracts shape careers. In agribusiness, they can shape your entire legacy. So, how can you avoid the trap? You learn, you ask the right questions, you prepare. That's why we are hosting the Agrifunding workshop. As African food change makers, we understand the nuances that come with sourcing and securing funding. We have seen the heartbreak of bad deals, and we have also seen the power of funding that empowers rather than limits. That is why we are inviting you to this critical conversation. So this is basically what this conversation is going to be about. And of course, there's a writing there, final whistle. Mbappe eventually got the deal he wanted, but not without drama, delay, and a whole lot of what ifs. Let this journey remind you of this. The goal is not just to get funding, it's about securing the right funding on your terms for your vision. And if you're navigating the road in agribusiness, you don't have to do it alone. Join the workshop, bring your questions, live with clarity, because the business deserves a contract worth signing. So when I saw this, I was saying to myself, okay, the best place to start really is to give that context from an agricultural perspective, but also bring in the picture Peladi that I've known for a very long time, since 2020, working in this space. So for me, working at the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce, we also need to look at what agriculture actually represents, right? Over 122 million more people have been facing hunger in the world, right, since 2019, due to the pandemic and repeated weather shocks and conflict, including the war in Ukraine. With a global population of 7.5 billion people, it implies 1 in every 65 people is facing hunger. This poses a significant threat to achieving SDG 2 by 2030. So SDG 2 basically says no hunger. So as a continent, we have the potential to be the world's food basket. The continent's agricultural sector contributes approximately 18% of the continent's gross domestic product, which is also expected to grow at a rate of 4.1%. But also agriculture has a funding gap of approximately 180 billion US dollars a year in sub-Saharan Africa. So sectors like technologies, basically production, value addition, and distribution value chains are mostly underdeveloped. They lack sufficient tailored financing from both public and private financing sources. Agriculture, small and medium-sized enterprises often operate below capacity compared to the available natural resources. So this is basically, and of course there's climate change, but the most popular financing tools in the sector are debt, equity, and grants. East Africa, for example, saw a growing use of approaches like convertible notes, asset-backed financing. Investor categories that have collaborated with a number of entities in Africa include commercial banks, microfinance institutions, development financial institutions, angel investors, and impact funds. That is basically kind of the background I wanted to give. Going back to you now, Peladi, I know in South Africa, on the continent, when many people start a business, the first question is there money actually? Were you pulled in because of the money? Of course. Did you want to make money? How did you actually start? Did the money come first or the idea started first? Let's start there.
The money definitely did not come first. So, well, as I've realized, being an entrepreneur, and I think it's the same everywhere, whether you are in Africa or Europe, America, the money these days, I think it's difficult for the money to come first. So for me, I had to start, like I said, I resigned from my full-time job. So I used my savings and I used my pension fund that I got once I left my job to bootstrap and start with that. So that's how I started my business. Yeah, so the money definitely didn't come first. It was more of a passion and the difference I wanted to make. But yes, obviously, I need to make money. I want to make money. So, on top of that, I actually registered as a private company, not like an NGO, an NPO. So, even though I'm a private company, but I have a social impact angle to everything I do. So, yeah, so the money did not come first. I had to bootstrap. I'm still bootstrapping now. But definitely, if you want to get investors to buy into you or into investing into you, you also have to show that you have sacrificed, whether it be income or your time that is not paid for, or that doesn't come from someone else. It comes from you or your family.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we know that there is a lot of money available. From a South African perspective, I always say South Africa does not have a funding problem, it has the access problem. We have had conversations at the chamber with institutions here like Old Mutual. They've got a lot of money actually to fund women-owned businesses, specifically in agriculture and basically food security space. You will find that governments actually work differently from the private sector. How has your experience been as an entrepreneur? Did you go through the government channels? Because there is a lot of funding in South Africa. What has your experience been working, number one, with government or sourcing funding from government? Let's start with your experience with government, then we'll go to the private sector.
Okay. Government funding is it takes very long, and there is a lot of red tape. Well, from a South African perspective. So from in South Africa, there is, yeah, like you said, there is a lot of funding. Government has funding for agriculture, especially rural areas, because they're trying to develop those areas. But there is a lot of red tape, and with the red tape, yeah, because they also have to be accountable for what they invest in. They don't want to lose money, so that is understandable. But with the red tape, it means basically that you have to be compliant. So in the South African context, you have to be a registered company, a registered company or organization. You have to be up to date with your tax filings or your company filings. For example, you have to, if you have employees, where, yeah, if you have like permanent employees, you're making enough money to have permanent employees, you need to make sure that they're registered with the various bodies like the Unemployment Insurance Fund, Compensation Fund. Yeah, so those compliance issues. Then other things that I've realized with government, it takes much longer from the time of application to the time you actually receive your funds. It can take anywhere between 6 months until a year for you to receive funds. So yeah, I think government funding, if you don't have any other option, that should be something that you go after when you are maybe in, have already developed or started your business. But with that said, most government funding is a grant, so that is much better because you don't have to pay it back. You just have to show that you've used the money for what you said you are using it for, and it opens up opportunities to get bigger funding. So if you do what the money is supposed to do, then it is a good track record to have with the government. And alongside with the red tape, I think if you want to go for government funding, it's important to be affiliated with associations or organizations, like maybe farmers networks, because these days most of the funding in government is looking to reach a bigger pool of people. So yeah, so you sometimes you don't have to go alone. You can go as a group and you can have access to funding, and also working with the government officials. So in my case, working with the extension officers that are employed by the Department of Agriculture. That is also a way to be on their database and for someone to motivate when there is funding for you to get it. So definitely, if you want government funding, you shouldn't be working in isolation. You should be working with organizations, association networks, and definitely people like extension officers.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just going to ask the participant here, how many of you know about financing for agricultural SMEs in Africa? How many people? So please just put on the chat whether you've heard about the financing for African financing for agricultural SMEs in Africa. It is a multi-donor fund of funds that is dedicated to unlocking financing for African SMEs, basically underserved SMEs. So they invest in and support investment fund managers. So they also channel catalytic capital into businesses that drive sustainable growth in the agricultural sector. So let me know how many of you actually have heard about FASA. The reason why I'm mentioning this is an organization that is based actually in France. You see something this important, not teaching in Africa, teaching outside there. Something that Kalaidi said here that was quite important is belonging to networks. I think AFC has done an amazing job. There is a lot of entities, there's a lot of associations, and as an entrepreneur, you need to belong. You need to be out there because your contacts can basically become your contract. That's something that I would like to emphasize here, that you need to know what's happening out there. That's why these particular platforms are quite important. So thank you so much for that. So yeah, read up on FASA's mission, what they are doing. They look at climate smart agricultural value chains. They look at improved livelihood, primarily premised on the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 7, 13, 14, 15 for climate smart agricultural value chains, improved livelihood, goal number 1, number 8, number 10, enhanced food security and nutrition, goal number 2, number 3, and number 12. And of course, they're also looking at impact pathways where they're mobilizing catalytic capital, basically around enhancing capacity. So there is a lot of information out there. I think this is why AFC is here as an entity to make that happen. I know we don't have so much time. Pledy, let's go to the second part of the question. Where did your funding come from and how did you get it? So you spoke about government, you spoke about bureaucracy, you spoke about red tape, really time consuming, really as an entrepreneur. You don't have the luxury of time. So where did your funding come from and how was that process?
This is my first year since 2019. This is the first year where I've actually gone for government funding. So before that, the funding that I've received has been from private sectors, private sector in South Africa, which is organizations like big corporates which have a CSI budget, so corporate social CSR, sorry, corporate social responsibility, or I think now they've changed it to ESG. So anything that can give back to the community or community development. So from 2019 to now, I've had private sector investors or funders, as well as one international organization, which was a result of me doing the YALI program. So that was from the YALI program where I also got my other grant. I'm not sure if I can mention the names, but basically the private sector and big NGOs have got big funding budgets as well. With those kind of funders, it is much easier. There's much less red tape. It's much faster. You can get your funding within less than 3 months, even a month, you can get funding. And there's less reporting. What is important for them also is to see how you use the money, how you use your money, how you improve. But with them, it's more aligned to what their mission and vision is as an organization. And then also, the vision and mission, and then also the impact that you can achieve from their funding. And for them, it's more of a long-term investment. So they are open to funding you again if you are on the right track and if you are achieving the milestones that you said. Because if they use their budgets to impactful businesses or to entrepreneurs that can deliver, then they also get more funding, or they have access to more funding to fund entrepreneurs. So private funders for me have helped me to do a lot of research, and that's also important. You need to do a lot of research. Like you said, there's a lot of funding that is aligned to the SDGs, and not everyone is on the same SDG mandate. But you need to understand what the organization is wanting to impact in your community or in your country, first of all, and then and then interacting with them, and then also for the private sector or the NGO space, you need to have an online presence. So things like LinkedIn or Facebook, where you can showcase your work. And definitely don't worry about not getting any likes. People are always watching. In the beginning, I thought I needed to get like 1,000 likes or something, but people are always watching. They just appreciate that you are confident about what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing. So that is how you get funding from the private sector. And the private sector, lastly, like I said, it should be impactful. So you mustn't always think. It's important to show that you can make profit, but that shouldn't be your driving force to get the funding. You need to definitely show the impact, and if possible, to show that you can work with the community around you. So more impact driven than profit driven.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So the outgoing president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Adesina, an amazing leader, is really a champion of agriculture on the continent. Actually, I think he was the Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria before he went to lead the African Development Bank. And he led the bank for 2 terms, I think 5 years, 5 years. He launched a campaign called Feed Africa, part of the high five priorities of the African Development Bank. And he has been heard. I mean, I was at the African Investment Conference in Johannesburg here with him in 2019, where he was saying that the next billionaires from Africa are going to come from agriculture. So all of you are sitting here on this call. You are those billionaires. We have the Dangotes of this world, the richest men in Africa, but the Motsepes of this world. But it is going to be so good to see that people coming from agriculture, like these of this world, and many others will become the industrialists of our continent. Because we have a huge problem as a continent. That is the problem of youth unemployment. Many young people in Africa cannot find employment, despite the fact that they've gone to the universities, they've studied, they're sitting at home right now. So we have a responsibility, all of us sitting here, to make sure that the Africa of tomorrow is better than today. So working on an African chamber, the African agency, is really to make sure that we support entrepreneurs in regard. We might not have the money at FASA. FASA was all funded by USAID. Many of you know that literally is kind of paid. So we have to trade. I don't like it. I've never that has been very, but open market. There is a lot of opportunities. It's not the best time. Africa of you. Everybody else knows this. Africa, right? So many SMEs, actually 3 out of 4 can access. And the touch for microfinance. This creates an estimated $100 and demand for financing. So what FAST basically has done is to bridge this financing gap, recognizing, of course, the role that agri-SMEs play in terms employment, make resilience, but earlier. So I asked how are we doing time?
Hello?
Ebere, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I think the network has been quite, I don't know if it's the same on your end. The network has actually been breaking up. But well done, Johnny. Well done, Filadi. It's been very interesting. I think what is key from what Filadi shared from her experience is that um, you need to have a presence, digital presence, if you want to have investors, you want to have grantors, or any kind of support for your business, you need to have presence because people will go back and look for you. So if you've not been posting, relevant, it's not just posting now, but posting relevant content, content that has to do that speaks about what you do. If you've not been doing so, then you need to begin to do that because, like she said, people are watching. I know on this call, we have about 5 minutes more for your session before we move. I mean, we have about 10 minutes more for your session before we move to Tara's session. But I'm hoping that within this session, we can focus. Can you hear me? Am I clear? Because some people are saying
Yes.
network is bad. I don't know.
I can hear you.
No, we can hear you.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear
So
you.
okay, great. So I'm hoping that within the next 10 minutes, if you can.
Ebere, we can't hear. Are you talking? Because we cannot hear you.
Yes, I can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. So I said, Johnny, you would have in the course of your career, your business, you would have engaged with a lot of investors, you would have engaged with a lot of partners, you would have come up with ideas, and you meet an organization and they say they want this extent of your business or your idea, they want to own this extent, so how do you manage those challenges, and what do you do also for Filadi? What do you do to ensure that your agreements are airtight? We have a lawyer on the call, actually. She will also speak to all of this, but we just want to learn from your real experiences. I'm sure you would have definitely had those kind of experiences when you go and then they say, before I release this funding to you, I need to have like 50% of your business, or this project you are doing, what's in it for me. So how do you manage these conversations? Negotiations can be very tough, can be very daunting. How do you go through that process? Let us hear from your real life experience before we hand over to the legal practitioner on the call. So we
Okay,
have we have just about 10 minutes to run this before we move.
okay. Let me start very, very quickly. I will speak here as a filmmaker, as a person who actually produces, directs, and basically invests as well now. When I started my journey, especially in the film space, I didn't know everything. And actually, knowledge is really power. Like Peladi said earlier on, you really need to know, number one, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your idea? So from a film perspective, I know we're talking about agriculture. I have not engaged in agriculture,
I will
funding.
send you out of that room.
So on my side, it was before you go and speak to an investor about the film, which is basically that can be your company where somebody wants to take a stake. You need to know actually how much are they, number one, willing to invest, and how much are you willing to let go? Because if you look, for example, at Netflix now, there are many people who don't want to go there because they are going to own your IP for forever. So are you willing to let that go? Before, I used to make films basically during the time of CDs and DVDs. I made a film here in Johannesburg, and I went to one of the not really a studio, but a cinema house. That's the word I was looking for. A cinema house. They looked at the film. They're like, okay, this is actually a very, very good film, but we are going to give you 30%. 30%. I'm like, 30% of what? Yeah, 30% of what your movie is going to make. So we are taking 70% because we need to clean the cinemas, because we need to do marketing, because I was like, no ways. I'm never going to allow that actually. So I eventually chose the DVD route. And this was around 2009, long time ago. So now that I'm going back into production and eventually setting up a fund, we need to show that we can also so that we don't achieve the. So the last part for me is just get lawyered up. So as an entrepreneur, there are so many lawyers out there. The network is very bad, actually. So I'm going to stop here. yeah, if you don't have all the information, you need to go out there and get help. That's what I can say. Keladi?
Okay. All right. Yes, for like I said, I've mostly gone for grant funding or government funding. But since earlier this year, I've actually also been now in the equity or venture capitalist funding sector or industry. So my advice for that, like, yeah, you need to lawyer up if you can afford it, but lawyers do not come cheap. So what I've done is, yeah, it's either you can find lawyers that are open to doing pro bono work and then maybe getting paid later when you've gotten the funding, or you can also yeah, like joining organizations such as the this African network that is hosting, where you do personal development programs and you get access to business development techniques and so forth. So you can learn about the basics of what investors look for, what is the terminology used in those sectors. But basically, don't, my advice is that don't ever go into a discussion with the investors when you don't understand the language, and also prepare very well in advance. And if you need to have someone who understands, maybe an accountant or lawyer on the call with you, so you don't yeah, give away, especially IP, give away too much IP or intellect there. That's very important to remember. And then also, while even if you don't have investors now, there's something which you can Google. It's called a deal room. So you can, yeah, the term is called a deal room. So that is basically having all your documents that funders would look for in different sections on maybe like Google, on Google Documents, for example, or yeah, so those kind of platforms. So it would be your compliance, it would be your company details, your HR, your marketing, all that, all those different components of your business, even including your IP. But then you have different sections where the investor can look for. So, example, if you have IP, which is very, that is basically your business, they can't access that part of the document. So, having something like that, so when they come to you, you don't have to start all over again. So, even if you are still starting, I'd advise you get those kind of things into yeah, like into a habit to have to run your company as a proper big corporate, because beyond the talking, they'll want documents. And then lastly is to probably get a mentor or a coach or a business coach. It's not easy to negotiate with funders, especially those who want equity. So getting a mentor or a business coach is very important. And then also knowing the, yeah, knowing how much, like being confident, like I said, that's the overall thing. When an investor can see you're not confident about what you're doing and they realize the potential of your business, they will definitely negotiate for very high what's it, heavy, very high shares for your from your business. So it's important to understand your business and the potential it has, and then also to always have in mind when you would want the investor or the funder to exit. So you must know, like, when you reach this certain milestone, they can exit and you can buy back your shares or you can give them what they invested. So yeah, that's also a very long topic, but basically, my advice is that just get your governance in order, get mentors, and then keep researching if you can't afford a lawyer, and then join organizations such as these to get access to coaches that can give you insight into those different terminology and teachings. Thank you.
Very, very interesting. And before I hand over to Tara, I hope you are ready for us. I just want to share key takeaways from what Johnny and Filadi has shared. if you're on this call and you joined so that you would learn how to, understand terms and negotiations before you enter into any negotiation. In fact, before you begin any conversation, with prospective partners, grantors, or whoever, make sure you know what you have and what you are willing to let go. You shouldn't even start thinking about that in the midst of the conversation. You should have done that before you begin such a conversation. And then when you know what you have and the value you are bringing to the table, you will be confident before anybody to tell them, look, this is the value you are bringing to the table. This is the worth of what I'm bringing to the table. And this is how much I'm willing to let go. So you need to know that. Thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you so much, Filadi. Please stay on the call because during the question and answers, a lot of people would ask you questions. So please just join us and continue this call as I invite Tara. Team members, can you take the slide to Tara's slide? Tara is a legal practitioner and she is a forward-thinking attorney entrepreneur. She's also an entrepreneur, not just a lawyer, and a strategist working at the intersection of law, technology, and sports. She is the founder and senior attorney of TPC and Nahoro Law Group in the New York and senior advisor to TPC and Nahoro Law in Lagos, delivering tailored legal and business solutions to startups and multinationals. Tara also serves as COO at ATI Africa Technologies and Chief Legal Officer at House of Vision Sports Agency, where she supports athletes with contracts. Are you paying attention? Me, I'm happy with this. She supports athletes with contracts, branding and strategy, is certified MBA agent and co-founder COO of Unanimous Game. She leads legal and operational strategy in gaming and esports. Tara frequently speaks on innovation and leadership with appearances at Afrotech, Playcrafting NYC, and the Barbados Tech Summit. Her work reflects a deep commitment to advancing emerging industries and empowering the next generation of founders and creators worldwide. Hello, Tara. It's a pleasure to have you on the call this evening. Now, before you even start, everybody on the call, you pay attention and look for Tara on this chat box because you would be needing her. She has a lot to share with you even after this call. So pay attention and make sure you try as much as possible to connect with her and discuss your contracting problems, discuss your, what else again, Tara? I hope I'm not setting you up.
You
Your
are.
negotiation problems, terms, and everything. She will answer you. Okay, Tara, thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to learning from you from the legal as point of view. Really, even though everyone here is an agripreneur, we're all businesses. We have businesses, and we deal with terms and negotiations every day. Not just with funders, but even with customers, even with suppliers. We deal with this every day. So tell us how we can properly understand terms and contracting terms and negotiations, especially with funders, how we can do that confidently, securing our own business as well, which is very, very important so that we don't give all our business out. What do we need to look out for? What do we need to do? What kind of documentations do we need to close tight to ensure that our businesses are safe, whether we receive funding or not? So you have the floor, Tara. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tara Nahoro. I am a co-founder of IT Africa. That is our legal tech solutions company. And then I'm a co-consultant for TPC in Ohoro, which is our Lagos law firm. Our law firm specializes in helping startups, SMEs, and businesses throughout different ecosystems to be able to be compliant and be the best they can be to get funding and to operate the best in whatever market they are. I'm here with my partner, so you guys can see her as well. We're just basically just piggybacking on the last presenters. a lot of things that need to be done that wasn't a heavy focus is the legal aspect of your business, which is making sure you are set up properly. Meaning, are you filed properly? I'm going to speak a lot to Nigerian companies. Are you filed on the CAC? Is your paperwork together? As in, like, do you have your articles together? And the articles are the documents I set up about how your company is run. When it comes to even like operations, how's your company operating? What is your company doing? Do you have the correct licensing? These things sound very like a little like, okay, this sounds a little overmuch, but these are things that what the previous presenters were telling, that governments, other grants, they would look to these things to give you funding. These are the things that they'll do when they do due diligence to make sure you have it, to make sure you're a viable business, to give you funding. One of the things that we have a company in IT Africa, we have a platform which is based to help entrepreneurs and business owners help to be compliant and to help, honestly, even when it comes to legal questions. Previously, she mentioned, whenever you hear an attorney, everyone thinks, it's very expensive and they don't want to hire an attorney and they do everything themselves. So we have a platform that would help you essentially make sure you're compliant and kind of do what it is that you need to do. It doesn't replace having an attorney, but it helps you handle things at least in a more affordable way as you being a new business owner. I'm gonna let my partner speak to that more.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ihotu, and like Tara mentioned, I am also a senior partner in TPC and Ahorolo based in Nigeria, and I am the CEO of Ati Africa. So our legal tech solution is called Rule, and basically what it does is that it helps businesses, entrepreneurs, and SMEs in providing answers to their legal and regulatory questions. So like myself and Tara, we are also founders. And when you're entering into any new business or industry, there are set rules that you have to follow to ensure that your compliance are not faced with fines or regulatory issues from the industry you work in. So Rule was put together to help entrepreneurs with that. Basically, so Rule right now is catered to the Nigerian market, but we plan to expand to other parts of Africa, starting from Ghana. And with Rule, as agricultural entrepreneurs, when you need funding, like Tara mentioned, due diligence is very important. Whether you're getting funding from the government, you're getting funding from private investors, whether you're even getting funding from a bank, you need to ensure that you're legally compliant, because that is what will determine whether you get funding or not. There may be people who have had access to investors. You may have even had discussions and find out that at the end, you're not able to get funding. One thing I can assure you is that it's possible you were not able to get that funding because you were not legally compliant in your industry. And so the topic of discussion today is centered around negotiations and fundings. I could see that a lot of people were not aware or did not have an understanding of specific terms. And Rule will be able to do that for you. With Rule is supposed to equip you with the knowledge. Like Mr. Johnny said initially, knowledge is power. Rule will help you build up on that knowledge. Rule will not help you replace a lawyer, but Rule will give you the knowledge you need so that when you enter into these negotiations, even if you have a preliminary discussion and they're bringing up things about maybe equity, the type of agreement that would need to be signed, you on your own will be able to determine what you want and what you need. So I'm going to give you a short demo about the capabilities of Rule. I would ask my colleague who is currently with us now, Ibukun, who's the head of development, to just bring up his screen so that we can give you a taste of what Rule can do for you. And please, just let me know once you can see his screen. Okay, so yes, I can see Rule now.
Yeah,
Please.
the screen is up.
Okay, thank you. So Ibukun, like we discussed, we're just going to show you what Rule can do, and I'm going to ask it a question based on the topic of discussion of today, especially one of the questions in the poll. So if you can just ask it, what is ordinary shares? And mind you, I do understand that we have an international audience because we have people from other parts of Africa. So Rule will give answers right now based on Nigerian law. But like I mentioned, we plan to expand to other African countries. So we will begin the process of gathering the laws that apply in other African countries. Okay, so as you can see, it's generating its response. Okay, so so for anyone right now who intends to either start up a company or they have a company and they're in the process of funding, just so that you can have an idea of what ordinary shares are, because if you have a company already, you should know the type of shares that you have in the company and the type of shares you want to apportion to any other investor who is requesting for shares. Like rule says, Ibukun, if you can just scroll up, sorry. Yes. So, like rule says in the definition, it tells you what ordinary shares are. It gives you, it lets you know what rights you have as a holder of ordinary shares, and it goes further into letting you know where these ordinary shares are usually come up. So they usually come up at incorporation. They come up in terms of the makeup of your share capital, your share structure, payments in terms of dividend, because I'm very sure people are aware of a term called dividend. If you are an ordinary shareholder, it also specifically tells you what kind of dividend you get as an ordinary shareholder, and also the structure in which the payment will come to you as an ordinary shareholder. It talks about how you can alter your shares, the compliance that comes around shares, because it's one thing for your company to have shares, but there are also regulatory rules and requirements that you need to follow when you have shares in a company. So basically, with rule, when you are starting out, because as a founder myself, credit crunch is real. Having access to funds is not good. Is not is limited. But having access to legal resources is very important. Having access to legal resources will determine how far your company goes. So rule basically is coming in to help you with that, pending when you get to the point where you can afford a lawyer. Let me repeat once again, rule is not here to replace a lawyer, but rule is here to help founders equip themselves with the right amount of knowledge they need to make smart business decisions. Because with law and with the legal requirements, it will also determine your business operations. You may want to set up, for example, a hemp an agribusiness that's centered around hemp, and find out that in Nigeria, hemp is illegal. Based on that, you can actually have your company shut down because you're practicing an illegal business. Everything that was mentioned around strategy and structure, legal law comes into every aspect of it. So ensuring that you are legally compliant is literally what will determine whether your company stays afloat and scales, or whether you're going to shut down in the next 1 year. So we just came on here to let you know that, yes, as lawyers and founders, we understand the need for having access to legal resources and understand that it is limited to businesses, SMEs, and entrepreneurs. And Rule is here to help bridge that gap. So thank you. I'll pass the camera back on to my colleague who will take the rest of the session.
Thank you. So to go back into what Abera was talking about, especially when it comes to the terms and negotiating. So rule that what we just explained would help you with being compliant, you understanding your business. A huge thing that would help with terms and negotiating when it comes to someone wanting to invest is understanding what you actually need the funding for. One aspect of that, and the previous presenter talked about, is honestly having an accountant as well, or at least having a breakdown of expenses that you need. What are the costs for operations? What are the things outside of legal costs possibly, but like, okay, to get your license, how much does that cost? To buy product, how much does that cost? To partner with somebody, what are all these costs? What are the overhead costs for facilities, for employees? All these different things are very important. Once you have that idea, then you know, okay, how much money you actually need when somebody's able to come in. Then also figuring out when somebody's coming in, how do you want them to come in? People can come in as an angel investor. They can come in just giving you grant money where they don't really take anything. It's just them giving you money. But obviously there's certain thresholds you need to show in making sure that you're using the money. Or do you want them to come in as a partner where they are putting money in, but they're all offering other aspects of help with your business? Knowing these kind of things help you negotiate better terms and help you honestly know better things that would help your business. So there's no one format in knowing how, like, to tell you, like, if somebody offers you 30% for 500,000, don't take it. It really depends how much funding you need, how much have you evaluated your company at, and you knowing the expenses that you already have for your company will help you know how you would value your company. But one thing I will say, at the utmost, depending on if the business is between you or if it's with co-founders or whoever it is, you definitely don't want to ever at any point make sure give an investor a majority stakeholder in your business. That's something you definitely do not want to do, regardless of what it is. But of course, you would have to establish what that looks like, depending who sits at the co-founder level. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Tara and the team. Now it's time for question and answers. If you have questions for Johnny and Johnny's team and Tara's team, just put your hand up and ask your questions, and they will be all here to answer you. If you have questions, here's the time for question and answer. Good, I'm already seeing hands up. Okay. So remember to keep your questions straight, precise as much as possible, please, so that we can quickly leave this place. So ask your question, Michael Osumo, ask your questions. And for those who have been saying they can't hear, don't worry, you'll get the recordings after now. Michael Osumo, please ask your question, or mute and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Awesome. So my question is to Tara. I wanted to know if the site is actually live. And also, I wanted to know what your roadmap is like, given that, some of us use tools like ChatGPT, etc. What are the advantages for using a platform like yours? Do you plan to maybe help with like document production? Maybe after we get our responses, you can even go ahead to give us like a document format we can download. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Michael, for your question. So currently, the rule is going to have beta testing in September. So that is something actually that would be offering to the community, is that beta testing will start in September. What will happen will be for 30 days, and whoever joins the beta testing will be able to ask up to 100 legal questions, and then for free, because it's just beta testing, and then you can give us feedback on how it works and everything. And then after that, we'll go live in October. Now, as it relates to it helping you with documentation, that is later on down the line where we would want to help. Right now, we're just making sure with you guys being compliant. So what it would do now is let you know, like, kind of things you need to look out for and what things you need when it comes to starting your business. We won't generate the agreements for you, but it would help you in assisting of telling you what you should look out for and what you probably should look to either connect with an attorney or try to draft yourself with.
Okay, Emmanuel, please unmute and ask your question. Emmanuel, unmute and ask your question, please. Team member, please help Emmanuel unmute. Emmanuel. Okay, does any other person have a question to ask so that so that our facilitators can answer? Any other person with any question?
Yes.
Okay, Emmanuel, you're on now. Okay, you may speak, Emmanuel. Or who just spoke?
Is Chibike Chukuma.
Okay, Chibike, but you didn't put your hand up now. Okay, let's hear you.
Sorry, I just, the network was disturbing.
All right, let's hear you, Chibike.
Well, my name is Chibike Chukuma. I'm from Nigeria. Please, I want to know the benefits of this program and what is it? I know it's about agriculture and all the benefit. Where are we heading to after the training? Thank
Okay,
you.
so is that question for us at AFC? Are you saying
Yeah,
the benefit for joining AFC? Is that
yeah,
it?
yes. Whoever is in charge.
Whoever is in charge. We're working for you, Chibike. Eh? So, are you currently into agriculture? Are you currently
Yes,
doing an agriculture
yes,
business?
yes.
What value chain are you working in?
Crop farming. I'm into cassava, maize.
Good. And where do you sell your products, or how do you sell? Where is your market?
Well, is well, I'm right now. I'm in my village. I sell. I do go to market. This mini market to deliver. Some people ask. I go. I deliver to their home mostly, but in the market.
Okay, so here's the thing, okay, Chibike, because you are into crop farming, when you join the African Food Chain Makers community,
Yeah.
number one, when you attend our training programs, you will learn how to farm better and produce more yields so that you can have more customers and have more money, which is very important, Abby. That's
Wow.
one.
Network.
Two, you get to meet other customers. When you join the community, AFC community, and you attend our programs, you will meet more customers. You will see people who are doing the same thing that you are doing, people who are exporting, people who have aggregators and want to work with more farmers like you. You will meet with them, and before you know it, you will see that you are increased your revenue. So when you join the African Food Chain Makers, we'll continue to train you on how you can boost your business and make more money. Do you understand?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
we don't give money. What we do is to give you the knowledge you need. What we do is to help you promote so everybody sees your business, everybody knows what you do. Anybody that comes to our website sees that Chibike has a crop farming business, and this is the quantity of farm produce that he,
Hello.
farms on at whatever basis. Okay, and then anybody can contact you, Chibike, even from Abuja, to buy your products in tons. Even from outside Nigeria can reach out to you. That is what you get to benefit when you join our community. So for more questions, my colleague will drop our link. You can visit us at
Hello, madam. Madam,
www.afchub.org
please.
to
Now my
learn
mic is
more
working.
from us.
Please,
Okay?
you can write it. Write the
Yeah, so
website,
my
please.
colleague will write it. My colleague will write it on the chat box. Thank you.
All right. Thank
Madam,
The
you.
next
I mean
person
now Emmanuel's
is
mic is working. Can I ask a question?
Emmanuel. We waited for you. Okay, you have the floor. Quickly, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel. I'm in Ghana. I'm into agriculture and also an investment consultant. What I would like to know is that in Ghana, we are lacking behind in the agri funding, as my sister Tara was talking about. I would like to know if there's any avenue that the agricultural sector in Ghana, those in the agri, because in Ghana, most of the agri, about 80% is informal. Is there a way whereby their system can give a grasp of how the informal sector can be formalized so that they can equally get funding? And if there's any private lenders that they think they can equally bring them on the platform that they have created so that it will be easier for people to see and then apply for funding.
Okay, yeah. Hi, Emmanuel. Well, the first thing from making your company being informal to formal would be registering the company. So it's within the systems. And then the next thing would just be making sure you have the proper paperwork for your company. So the licensing and everything that's needed. And then the second thing would be just connecting to the proper funders. Any grants or honestly, any platforms that are helping access you to people that want to invest. But the first thing would be filing for your company. So it's a proper company set up in Ghana.
Okay, because the reason why I'm asking this question is that one organization approached me. They have a very good track record and they are into cocoa input credit. So the PBC Ghana, the highest producing buying company in Ghana, has given them a contract to train about 100,000 farmers within a span of 5 years. And they are in need of funding, but actually they are struggling to get that. But they have all their legal documentations ready, auditing statements, everything is intact. But to get the funding has been a problem. And once you are in Africa and then you are applying for funding outside the country, it becomes very difficult. You apply, send emails, they don't even respond. So if a company like yours will recommend and then follow up, it will be the best approach that we can use to formalize the informal sector.
What I would say is we probably would have to get more details and talk offline. So what I would do is make sure Ibarra has my contact and can share my contact with the community so it's easier. Because it's probably more nitty-gritty questions besides them having everything together and having asked and not being able to get funding. So there's probably more business aspects you need to talk about that you don't have to detail right here. So I can just make sure my contact is shared and we can talk offline.
Okay, so I think she can share it on the page. My phone is almost low battery, it's about 9%, so that I can just write it somewhere before I lose it.
Sure.
Then I'll probably
should I
send you
put
an
my
email.
email in the chat? Or should I put my email in the chat?
So yes, please, Tara, drop your contact details on the chat.
Okay, I'll do that right now. Okay.
Yes. Victoria, please, you have the floor quickly.
Right. Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
My name is Victoria. I'm speaking from Yola, Nigeria. I want to ask our first speaker if they can help us with some sites or some organizations they've applied for to get grants that helped her in her business. Can you hear me?
Okay, Victoria, can you take your question again? Please, if you are not asking a question, mute, please. Emmanuel, mute, please. Team members, please mute Emmanuel and any other person that is not speaking, please. Victoria, you can go on.
All right. I said, I don't know if she can help us with some of the platforms that she was able to apply for the grant that help her in our agri business so that we can also apply in Africa and also outside the country so that we can be able to expand our business.
Okay, great. So this question is
Thank you
for
very much.
Filadi. Is Filadi on the call?
Yes.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, please, can you answer? Victoria would like to know and learn from you which platforms, which organizations did you reach out to, regardless of the country or location. Let so that she too can, try and explore funding or grant opportunities.
Okay, I'll put my email and my WhatsApp number in the chat because there's quite a few, but off the top of my head, there's lots of funding from embassies, for example, in the countries like Europe, embassies from Europe, for example. And then, yeah, I just can't remember now, but I'll put my contact details. But embassies, MasterCard, those kind of organizations, if you check the websites, and also if you have a profile on LinkedIn, there's a lot of funding opportunities that are shared daily on LinkedIn. But I'll put my details just to also put a list together and share.
Okay, so go and search for Filadi on LinkedIn and connect with her in the chat box. She will drop her details. I saw Ebele Moloku's hand up. I don't know if she still wants to speak. Ebele, do you still want to speak? Okay, so that looks like, let me check the chat box to see if we have any question, and they will know if we're calling it a day already. But once again, I say thank you to Johnny and Filadi. Thank you to Tara and the team. We really appreciate the knowledge that you shared here. Please, our members will reach out to you. Please, in the best way you can, provide them with the knowledge and information that would really help them. Because whenever we bring everybody here, it's just to help them benefit from knowledge, resources, information. That is what AFC is about. We're a platform that share these resources for them to take advantage of them and scale their businesses. So thank you for being open to engaging them offline, outside here. I'm sure a lot of people will reach out to you. Now, team members, can we please have the slide back up? I think the next thing for us to do is to take a group photograph. So can we have the slide up, please? So the next thing to do is to take a group photograph. I would like everyone to turn on their pictures, their videos, and put up a smile. Turn on your video, put up a smile. Take a screenshot as well and share on social media and tell everybody that you attended AFC Agrifunding series. Take a picture and share. So, team member on the call, please snap. Take the pictures so that we can promote. Team members on the call, take a picture. Okay, Bele, we're looking for you at some point, but after this group photograph, don't worry. Team members, let me know if you've taken the picture. Our smiles are beginning to dry up. No, sir, give me a thumbs up if you've taken the picture. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for paying attention and participating. Please, I crave your indulgence. Let us hear from Ebele. She's my namesake. Ebele, are you still here? Do you still have your question? Ebele, if you are here, quickly unmute. No, sir, while Ebele is coming up, please put up the slide so that we can move on immediately. Looks like Ebele, if you still have your question, you can send us an email and we'll direct the question to any of the facilitators and get back to you. Can we have the slide up, please? Let us know what we are doing next month. Now, everybody has been talking about funding. Filadi shared her experience about funding. But have you ever heard about crowdfunding? Do you know that there are funding opportunities around peer-to-peer and development grants? You will learn all of these next month, 28th August. So everybody on this call, over 100, in fact, I think we have about 200 attendees on this call. Everybody on this call, come back on the 28th of August 2025, next month, Thursday, 3 p.m. West African time, and learn how to crowdfund. You've been asking which organizations do you need to write to, do you need to reach out? You are going to learn about all of them. Our speaker next month is coming with a load of lists for you to apply for their grant opportunities. So you don't want to miss it. And when you're coming next month, 28th August 2025, 3 p.m. Nigerian time, make sure you come with somebody who will also take benefit from this. You don't want to take this alone. Funders, you will see them that day. You get to write to them. The facilitator is coming with a list of funders, a list of development grants, a list of development funders. So please don't miss it. You would also learn how to crowdfund. How do you crowdfund for your business? How do you meet your fellow business persons to raise funds? You will learn all of this next month, Thursday, 28th August 2025. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody here. Johnny, please come with your people, your business people from South Africa. Filadi, please, I want to see you here as well. Tara and your team, everybody is welcome. We all want funding, right? Next month, we'll have our facilitator who is coming with a list of funders that we can take, apply for their funds. Thank you, everyone, for taking part of today's session. Team member, move on to the next slide. So proceed, please.
Sorry, Ebere, people are asking that we retake the picture. Did you see that on the chat?
Oh, yes, we've taken the picture.
No, people are saying that it didn't take. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So we'll take the picture again then. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm also seeing questions about recordings. Yeah, you would also receive recordings. Interesting. Okay, so we'll take the pictures again, but let me just run through this before we do that. So everybody here, we always post updates on our social media platforms. We post opportunity updates, investment updates, what's happening in the agri sector across Africa. You want to learn any of these things, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that's the X that we all know now, and then LinkedIn, even YouTube. This session is currently streamed on YouTube. You can always go to our YouTube channels to see past events, past Agrifunding series, and even the current one. So don't miss out on any of our updates. We also have the newsletter, so subscribe to our newsletters and get real-time updates of the African food change makers. Before I say thank you, can we turn on our videos one more time, just a few seconds before we proceed, and smile. So who are those that didn't have their video on? We can turn it on now. Just screenshots and then make sure you post. We are doing this again for you. All right, great. Oh, okay. People are saying that the video was not enabled. It looks like some people are struggling to turn on their videos. But a lot of people have their videos on though, so I'm wondering. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today. On this note, I say, looking forward to connecting with you next month, same time, 28th August. Come and with your pen and take note of all the guys that are giving out money. Don't miss it, so that you won't say African Food Change Makers is not doing anything for you. So you would say Ebere is not doing anything for you. Come next month, 28th August, and find out who is giving funding for agribusinesses in Africa. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Johnny and Filadi. Thank you, Tara and team, for your time and for staying with us from the beginning till now. I am entirely grateful, and the entire AFC team is grateful. And on this note, I wish you all an amazing evening. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. I was muted all along.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ma. You can easily send us an email and we'll send your
Not
questions.
yeah.
Have a good day.
That's